What's going on, everyone? So, I really do think that the Lakers should go and target Miles Bridges. Right? Couple questions about that. Right? One, I know a lot of people are going to ask, why would Charlotte work with the Lakers again? Why would Charlotte trade with the Lakers again? Well, because it's business. Business is business. And business doesn't hold emotion. Business doesn't, again, if they're getting a good deal and they feel like they're winning, guess what? They're going to make the trade. Problem is, right? This is the real question here is, what would they want now? Because they really wanted Dalton Connect. And so that was kind of like your ace to a team like Charlotte of like, hey, we have the exact guy that you want. Problem is that since the draft, you don't really have that guy. Like they went and got Con Kneppel, who they don't really need, right? Like he was really good in summer league. So it's like, do they really want Dalton Connect now? So maybe you're pulling off some 3-team trade in order to make that happen. The other question would be, would the Lakers even trade there first? Right? For Miles Bridges, I think it's worth it. Because he's young enough, he's skilled enough on both sides of the basketball, could slot into either forward spot. He's a guy that if you were ever going to trade a first, he's one of the guys that would make sense to trade a first for because of his age, where he fits, all of that. Now, there could be the potential that the Lakers are saving the first for, a Giannis or whatever. But my thing is that, like, again, if you build it, they will come, right? Like, Giannis, what would make and incentivize Giannis more to push and force his way to a team like the Lakers than if they had a roster that he looks at and goes, oh, we can win with. Like, LeBron's leaving, you plug me in, we're winning a championship, right? Or Jokic, same thing, right? Jokic, right? Like, what would make him go, I only want to go to Lakers. If you don't trade me, I'll just sit out for a year and play with my ponies and then I'll come back, right? Like, what would incentivize him to do something like that? Building a team that he looks at and goes, like, that is a contender, right? You add me to that roster, we're winning a championship, right? LeBron departs, you can move Miles Bridges to the 4 and then bring in Jared Vanderbilt or, Jake LaRavia or an Adu Thero if he evolves into that guy, right? All of a sudden you got 2 big, versatile, athletic, physical wings that can defend multiple positions, play multiple positions, do a little bit of everything out there on the basketball court for you. That would probably incentivize and go like, me, Luka, and then these guys, we might be able to win a championship immediately, rather than like, okay, well, I could go to Luka and I get to play with my buddy, but like we still have to build out the roster, right? Like, my thing too is like Lakers keep talking about wanting to seize this window and seize this opportunity, and they want to win right now with Luka and LeBron. Well, then make the moves necessary in order to do that, right? Rob Pelinka himself said he's trying to find those now moves, as he put it. Right? We want the now moves. The now moves are important. Well, okay, Miles Bridges would be a now move. Miles Bridges would give you a guy that, again, is giving you 20 a night, excellent rebounder, can defend multiple positions, hit the open 3, do a little bit of everything. And I'll go over his stats here in a moment, shortly, right? Like, but gives you a guy that is an upgrade over all your wings right now, gives you a legit 2-way wing that I do think is undervalued right now. Like, he's not one of the guys many people talk about, and I think a lot of that has to do with he's on Charlotte, and Charlotte is atrocious and terrible, and he's kind of one of the few bright spots on that team. And, it's like LaMelo and stuff is injured every week, so it's like a lot of times he's playing by himself. It's like him and a bunch of guys. People, the whole argument that I see all the time, which I just think is it's like a pet peeve of mine. I think it's the worst argument ever anybody can make. And that is like, well, he's not a winning player. What has he done? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, there's like 5 guys in the league that are that. Right? Like, was Pau Gasol a winning player before he came to the Lakers? Was Shaq a winning player before he came to the Lakers? Right? Was Anthony Davis a winning player before he came to the Lakers? Right? Like, was Alex Caruso, KCP, if you want to talk about role guys, right? Like, were they winning players before they came to the Lakers? Right? Like, the whole, like, Dwight Howard, right? The whole, like, oh, well, he's not a winning player. He does like, no one is until they are. Right? Like, LeBron wasn't a winning player until he went to Miami. Right? Like, again, the whole like winning player argument is a silly argument. But anytime I've talked about guys like a Miles Bridges or whatever, it's like, why would you trade for him? He's not a winning player. And it's like, yeah, he's on one of the worst teams in basketball that doesn't care about winning. And most nights he has to be the primary guy by himself. Is he the number one option that's going to lead you to a championship? No. But here's the beauty. Guess what? Spoiler alert. The Lakers don't need him to be. Lakers have a Luka Doncic that can be that, right? So you just need Miles Bridges to be your third or fourth guy on the team. Wonder how that looks, right? Like, wonder how Miles Bridges would look if he was the third or fourth option on the Charlotte Hornets like he's supposed to be. But I digress, right? Point is like, okay, the other big question is, okay, why would Charlotte even want to trade him? And again, if you just look at the roster, they're going to need to start making some decisions soon. They're going to need to start getting off of guys, right? So you have Brandon Miller, who's probably going to be your starting three. They have like 15 point guards. Could you also maybe get like a Trey Mann or something like that, by the way, in the process? That'd be kind of cool, especially now that they brought in Colin Sexton. And, it's like, what are they going to do with the guard spot? They just have like a ton of like guards, right? A ton of point guards and like guards, period, especially. But I digress. Point is, right? You have guys right now, and, like I said, Brandon Miller, right? They have Con Knipple, who's probably going to slot in and play the three. You got Saloon, right? Grant Williams is still on the roster. You have McNeely, who was really good for them, that can slot in and play that role, right? And that's just to name a few. There's several other guys that can slot in that they're going to play at the 2 or the 3. I mean, even like a Josh Green, slot in and play the 3. So they have several guys that can slot in and play the 3 or the 4, right? Now, Miles Bridges, because of his size, probably see more 4, and because of how the roster shaped up, there we go, words are hard, he'll probably see a lot of the 4, but you could maybe give them Rui, and then Rui could slot in at the 4, and he's a natural 4, and he could kind of give them a lot of the same production that Miles Bridges gives them, right? And then they have the offense and they have those things, but Miles Bridges is also a better rebounder, so that could be very beneficial. Point is like, I think you could incentivize them. You probably have to sell quite a bit, but I do think Miles Bridges is one of those players that's actually worth it. I think he's one of those guys that, if you were going to pony up what you needed to go get a guy, right? He's young enough to warrant it, to justify it. He's making $25 million this year, right? His contract also goes down, by the way, at $22.8 million. Even if you can't get him this year, I'd try to get him next year, right? Especially as on like an expiring contract, be like, hey, like he's going to leave you. But he's 27 years old, just turned 27 in March, right? So he's young enough to be a foundation piece on this team, on this roster. Right? You look like an Andrew Wiggins. He's 3-4 years younger than even an Andrew Wiggins, and right now is the better player, right? So if you have to give up a first and connect and all this other stuff to go get an Andrew Wiggins, I'd rather turn around and give that same package and go get a Miles Bridges, and now you're cooking. Right now you're getting a guy that's younger, better, athletic, can defend, do a little bit of everything out there on the basketball court. But let's get in the numbers here a little bit, right? So 64 games played last year, 64 games started, just under the 65. Like I said, I just need guys to play at least the 65 games, right? That's kind of like the bare minimum, right? That's the standard and threshold. But he did play 69 games the previous year. So, if he can give you 65 to 70 games, be perfect, be fine. But 64 games played, 64 games started, 31.7 minutes per game, 17 field goal attempts per game. Like I said, a lot of it is he's on many nights the sole guy responsible for scoring and shooting and playmaking and doing a little bit of everything. But 17 attempts per game, 43% from 3-point range, or from 43% from the field, not 3-point range. 3-point range was 31.3% last year, which was not good on 7 attempts. However, he is a career 34% guy, which again isn't great, but the previous year on 7 attempts or 6.5 attempts was 35% from 3-point range, right? So he's a guy that can knock down. But again, keep in mind, especially last year when half the team, Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, everybody was hurt, injured, good majority of the season. So he had to be the sole guy. Right? So again, the shooting percentage, the 3-point percentage, it's a lot harder to have a better percentage when you're the primary scoring option. All the defenses are planned to try to slow you down, and you got to do everything out there on the basketball court. So keep that in mind, right? Because I do think that, again, context is important. Context matters. 31.3% from 3-point range is not great regardless, but if he could, 35%, he has had seasons where he shot 40%, right? On 4.5 attempts. He's going to be slotted alongside Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. I think he'll be fine. That's just me, though. But 2-point range, 51.3% on 10 attempts, EFG of 50%, free throws percentage on 4 attempts, 87% from the field, 7.5 rebounds. He's a career 6 rebound a game guy. Last 2 seasons, 7.5 and 7.3 rebounds. So rebounding the ball, excellent. 4 assists, a steal, a block, and 20.3 points per game. So again, he's a guy I think if you were going to go and trade for that starting level 3-and-D wing, I think it's Miles Bridges. I think his shooting, his 3-point shooting, all of that, I think all of that will skyrocket because he won't have to be the guy. He'll be set up in ways that he's just not set up in alongside Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. I think it's the best spot for him. But that being said, as always, this is a discussion, a past question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.